How to create a round logo using Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. I'm going to open up my photos first, my source photos first in Photoshop. I'm going to unlock the background. I'm going to do select subject and then select inverse, and I'm going to delete the white background, and I'm also going to go image size and resize my photos, making them very small, maybe 2 or 3 inches large. I also changed the pixels per square inch to 300 pixels per square inch. So you want to create some very small but high resolution images. So I did that with my apple and my banana, and then I saved them as PNGs, or portable network graphics. So changing it 300, I'm making it like maybe 2 or 3 inches large, hitting save, saving it as a PNG. I'll do that with my apple and my bunch of bananas. So again, open it up, unlock the background, select subject, select inverse, delete, image size, up the pixels per square inch, and reduce the size of it. Open up a Adobe Illustrator, and you're going to open up a print file, letter size print file. And now go up to Windows, and there's certain things you need visible that you're going to check off. You want color checked off, you want image trace checked off, and you want layers checked off. Those are the things that you will need visible. So up in the Windows, you check them off, they'll be visible in your menus. Now I'm going to do File, Place, and always go to the upper left-hand corner and click when you're placing your file, and then you can move it. And now I'm going to do an image trace. I click on preview, and then I'm going to use the drop-down menu, and I'm going to change it from the default setting to 6 colors. There's a little slider, so I could change it to 5 colors or whatever I want, but the idea is to make it look a lot less like a photograph and a little bit more like a print. Then I'm going to do Object, Image Trace, Expand. And then I'm going to click on the white background, and I'm going to use the Direct Select tool for that, and click Delete. Next, I'm going to do File, Place, and I'm going to grab my little Apple PNG. And again, place it in the upper left-hand corner to start with. Then move it in place exactly where you want it. And then do the image trace, first the preview, and then switch it to 5 colors or 6 colors. And then use the slider to get the right number of colors so that it looks the way you want. And then do Object, Image Trace, Expand. And then use the Direct Select tool, click on the background, hit Delete. Now I have the little graphic that I want. I'm going to go up to the Layer menu, and you can see those little lines in the Layer menu. You're going to click on that and click New Layer. Lock the layer with the fruit in it. Go to your New Layer, click on that, and I want to adjust, I'm going to use the Elliptical Shape tool, which is hidden under the Rectangular Shape tool, and I want to adjust the fill of my circle to have nothing in it. So the red diagonal line means the fill is empty, and I'm going to click on the line and create a blue line. And if you click on Properties, you can adjust the thickness of the line. I think I made the thickness of my line about 30 points. But if you're on go to the Select tool, you can actually just click on the line and move it around to get it to the position that you want. So I'm just clicking on the circle and moving it around, getting it into position, and then I'm going to create a new layer. Lock the layers I've already created, and I'm going to create a brand new layer. And if you want to create a perfect circle, you hold down the Option and the Shift key at the same time. The Option key will allow your circle to start in the middle and spread out towards the edge, and the Shift key will make sure it's a perfect circle and not an ellipse. And then you pull out the perfect circle from the center of your design. If you want to make letters on it, hidden under the type key is the type on a path key. You find that and you click on the path of the circle. You can change the font if you go into properties, and you can also change the size of the font. So I'm now rating my letters, and you can see that they're upside down. So if you hit the select tool, you can actually rotate them until they are right side up. And I'm going to actually change the layer so that it's above the fruit so that the banana doesn't hide it. And it says Rachel's Natural Food Company. And now I'm going to create another layer below that. And I'm going to make the fill of that layer. I'm going to make, again, I'm going to use the elliptical marquee tool. And I'm going to make the fill of that layer a gradient. So you have different choices, and one of them is a gradient. So I'm going to create a layer below the Rachel's Natural Food Company and below the little turquoise ring that I have there. I'm pulling that layer down to the very bottom. I'm going to create a circle with no line color and a clear line color, and the fill is going to actually be a gradient. And you can mess around with a gradient, and instead of it being from black to white or from yellow to orange, you can make it from whatever color you want. Just click on the little dots on the gradient line and then go to the color picker and select the colors that you want. I just click on them. So I've decided to create my circle in the layer below the in the bottom layer, and I'm trying to make it look like a sunrise. So I'm playing around with the gradient. You can rotate the gradient, you can change the colors. As long as it's selected, you can mess around with the colors. So if you want to change the size of the circle, you just click the select tool, and as you're changing the size, just make sure you hold the shift key. If you don't hold the shift key when you're changing the size of the circle, what happens is it'll warp. It'll turn into an ellipse. The holding the shift key when you're transforming or resizing something will keep the aspect ratio the same. I'm adding another layer underneath everything else, and I'm adding another gradient, making another circle. And I'm playing around with the colors. Because it's a natural food company, I wanted to get the idea of the rising sun and the blue sky to give a sense of nature. So I'm just messing around with the colors. Once you have the design you like, you can go File, Export, and export it as a PNG. Or you could unlock all the layers, select all the layers. If you want to select multiple layers, you hold the shift key down and you can select all the layers. And then you're going to take the selection tool and just drag it across your design so that it selects everything. Or you can go to the top and hit select all on artboard. Once everything is selected, you can just add a copy. And if you wanted to paste it into another Adobe program, for instance, if I wanted to paste all my layers of this design into Photoshop, I could just open up Photoshop and hit Edit Paste. You have a couple of choices in Photoshop. You could paste it as a pixel-based object, or you could paste it as a vector object or smart object. In this case, I'm pasting it as a pixel-based object, and then I'm going to hide the background so that there's no background, as a clear background, and I'm going to save it as a PNG or portable network graphic with no background. So here's my final logo. If you wanted to create an extremely large graphic, say for a billboard, you would export it as an SVG out of Illustrator. SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphic, which means that it could be enlarged to whatever size you want and it wouldn't pixelate.